Carter McCoy closed the menu and handed it back to the waitress. "You know what? Screw it. I'll have the butter burger, grilled onions, and fries." He smiled at her, and it made the wrinkles in his cheeks deeper. She smiled back, the way a kid looks at their grandparent. "And a chocolate shake," he added. "Only live once, right?" She wrote it down and went away with a grin. He had all the hallmarks of a kind old man. Snow-white hair, still mostly there. Wrinkles around the corners of his mouth and his eyes. Laugh lines, they called them. 72 years old, but could pass for 62 if he wanted. Still spry, still active, still life in his light brown eyes. "Not for long," Carter said quietly. And it wasn't because of the butter burger, a regional specialty and nemesis to cardiologists everywhere. He chose the diner not because he liked it or because they served the greaseball Midwestern staple, but for proximity. The diner sat half a block from the hospital he'd just come from. It was still inside a half an hour from when the doctor told him the name of the disease that would kill him. All 9 syllables of it. Carter refused to remember what it was. He didn't want the name of his assassin on his lips. What did it matter, anyhow? He got the standard response. 6 months, maybe more, maybe less. What they said when they had no clue when he'd go. Maybe less could mean he'd hit the deck before he reached the elevator. The bottom line was, nothing they could do. Carter had contracted an extremely rare disorder. The doctor had told him with some degree of respect for the elusive disease. That's why it had taken so long to diagnose properly. All those months spent wondering, speculating, testing, when Carter could have done something more with his days if he'd known they were among his last. Now he knew what he had to do, though. Eat the cheeseburgers and milkshakes he hadn't been able to in years. Never mind what they did to his stomach. Drink the good scotch, watch the sunsets, and sleep through the sunrises. And finish a bit of business he'd left undone for far too long. A task he should have taken care of years ago. A balancing of the scales. He needed to kill a man. The idea had been there in the back of his brain for decades now. Like how he kept saying he was going to pick up his guitar again. His wife kept him from the thoughts of killing this man most of the time. But Ava was gone 6 years now. By then it had gone so long undone that the deed no longer seemed like it needed doing. But with his diagnosis, Carter knew this would be his final act. He could not go off into the long dark forever without doing this one thing. For her.